We're going to be talking about marriage retreats and weekend intensives for couples counseling. A lot of people are really talking about how to expand on the services that they are providing. They don't necessarily want to just provide that 1 hour of therapeutic services, especially to couples who might be high risk, high need, high conflict. And one way to expand your services, increase your revenue, and really provide excellent care to couples is to provide marriage retreats, couples counseling intensives, weekend intensives, whatever words you want to use to describe them. They're all basically the same thing packaged in different words. So what this looks like is you come up with a curriculum or you get trained in a curriculum. I know the Gottmans have a weekend kind of workshop, Hold Me Tight, I believe is what it's called. Or that's EFT. I'm thinking if the Gottmans have one. I can't think off the top of my head if they have a weekend workshop that the therapist can provide, but I know EFT with Sue Johnson has one. It can look like 3 hours, 8 hours, a whole weekend where you are providing some type of intense couples counseling. Usually what I've seen is that there is some kind of, intake process that happens where you gather information about what's going on with the couple. And you usually gather information beforehand because you need a lot of information, right? And then you get to the meat of what's going on. You talk about, really what's going on in the marriage, and then you provide, some information and feedback about what's going on in the marriage. And then to wrap it up, you give some kind of conclusion or recommendations, whether it's continued treatment, continued exercises, these types of things. It's not dissimilar to what you do in therapy, but it's condensed in a short period of time. So you do the intake, you do the work, and then you do the termination and discharge plan, but you do that in one weekend. And so it can be a really great way to expand on your services. If people were asking where to find couples for this, and you're already working with couples, you're going to want to start with your practice. It's always going to be easier to convert clients, maybe newer clients or high conflict clients, to a weekend workshop than to get cold calls, unless you're doing a lot of marketing for those workshops. And so if you're thinking about starting this, think about your couples that you see. Do you have couples that would benefit from something like this? Not every couple is going to benefit from something like this. Couples that can be contained at some level it's going to be important to have that skill, because if you have couples who can't be contained and they come in for a 15-hour workshop and they just purge the whole time, you're not really going to be able to come to any kind of conclusions or agreements or, the discharge plan, the treatment planning end of things for them. And so you want to have some kind of way to screen clients. So that's why I do recommend you take a look at your current clients. And is there somebody who would be a good candidate for that? If you are working with couples, you do want to make sure that you do have trainings either in Gottman. Terry Real has, couples counseling, EFT. There are other ones out there, Imago. So you want to make sure that you have some kind of foundational training, that you've read couples books, that you've gone to workshops, and maybe you've even gone to workshops as a participant. It doesn't necessarily have to be a marriage encounter workshops, but some kind of workshops. I personally found that to be so helpful in providing workshops to clients, is by going to workshops, because I can see what works and what doesn't work. I know one thing for me that I want always to be super easy is the registration process, right? Because people are scared, they're nervous, they're anxious, they're wondering. And if the registration process is arduous, if it is difficult, if it's not smooth, then that can really deter a lot of people. And I've learned that by going to other workshops to see what that runs like. You also want to make sure that you consider maybe doing workshops with another person. You don't necessarily have to, but having two facilitators is really helpful, especially a male and female. If you are doing couples counseling, with primarily heterosexual couples, it really could be any makeup that you want. It could be two female instructors. It can be however you want it to be, but consider your ideal clients and how you can mirror their relationship in some way. I have found it beneficial when working with heterosexual couples, when there's a male and a female. We can really model what healthy relationships look like, what healthy dialogue looks like. And so that's just something to consider. It doesn't have to be, you can do it for you, on your own. There's also other ways to do it where it's one-on-one couples, or you can do multiple couples like in a retreat style. Maybe you have 5 couples and you send them off to do things, you bring them together, you send them off, you bring them together. And that's why I said going to retreats and going to workshops is really beneficial, because you can see all kinds of ways that you can run these kinds of workshops. I'm going to talk about how to price these workshops, but first I want to thank our sponsor, TherapyNotes. If you're looking for an electronic health record that is really full service, I want you to check out TherapyNotes. They are phenomenal with their customer service. You can pick up the phone, they answer your questions, and it is so easy to get the answers that you need or just a little bit of guidance. You can bill directly from there. They have a free telehealth option. You can bill insurance. You can bill your clients. They have a client portal. You can have them fill out their paperwork there. It's really, really great. We use it for our group practice, and I highly recommend it for yours. So thank you to TherapyNotes. So you want to take a look at what is it going to cost you to run your retreats. You have to consider things. Are you going to be providing lunch, any refreshments? How much is it going to cost you to market? If you're thinking about doing this in a large scale, you're going to have to market these retreats. You may market it on Google. You may market it through social media. You may market it with other therapists, but it's going to be really important for you to consider how much you're going to be spending on marketing. If you have another co-facilitator, you're going to have to pay them. You're going to have to pay yourself. You're going to have to look at, would you be not seeing clients on a Friday and have to supplement that income? So there's no formula necessarily to decide how much you're going to charge, but you want to make sure that if you're putting in 10 hours of work just for that weekend, you have to consider the back end, the front end, the marketing, all of those things into the price point that you give to people. A lot of the times people understand that if they're going to a workshop or if their marriage is really in that much duress, that they may have to, pay a premium price for an individual 10, 15, 20 hour couples counseling intensive. Like, most people understand that is going to come at a cost. So you can price your services accordingly. I don't think most people are looking necessarily for like discount marriage workshops. They're usually, they want help. They're like desperate. They're calling. And so that's just something to consider when you're, one, doing the intakes, and two, pricing out, that people are really looking for help. They're usually looking for help sooner than later. And they really, really want to leave those retreats with something in hand that they can go and they can have an improved marriage. So if you're thinking about doing marriage retreats, best of luck to you. And I'm here most days answering your questions. See you soon, everybody. Bye.